Hello, my name is Dr. Robert Preeb. I am the creator of the vlog entitled Parks Are Like Icebergs, where I share 30 plus years of parks planning and urban planning experience. Today's background picture you see behind me is a picture of the North Saskatchewan River Valley in Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. There's a beautiful trail that runs through there as part of a broader River Valley, 88-kilometer River Valley Park and Trail system through the North Saskatchewan River Valley. So today's topic of discussion is knowledge. So planners, and this is park planners, everybody, and I'm probably going to focus a little bit more here on urban planners, but it applies to park planners as well. What is the role of planners in creating and managing processes? And while we talk about our role as planners in terms of creating cities, placemaking, creating sustainable cities, all that's true, all that's still valid. And if you look at any job you get or apply for, there's a whole list of tasks like review plans, collect input, there's write reports. So there's a whole list of tasks there, but what is really at the heart of everything planners do? And that's assembling knowledge, disseminating knowledge, and acting as knowledge interpreters. And it's framed that way for a particular reason, because my experience was when you looked at our urban planning processes, I sometimes wondered, well, not sometimes, I often wondered, are we even speaking the same language as the community? So amongst, city administrators, amongst elected officials, planners, we understand the terminology that's used, the jargon that's used, but the community is not in the same place. So what this discussion is about assembling knowledge. So where do we assemble knowledge from? Who do we assemble it from? And you'll see some information down below of this vlog. How do we disseminate it? Are we telling a file story, or are we telling the story of the community in that area? And then, acting as translators. When I worked in the planning department in the city of Edmonton, we weren't called that, but that's what we were, the planning department. I would go to meetings and they'd say they'd want to do something, and I'd say, well, the recreation function from the programmers, the maintenance guys might object for these reasons. And they go, well, why? And it would work the other way too. I go to a meeting with recreation people, programmers, maintenance guys, and they'd say I'd say the planners want to do A, B, and C, and they'd say, why? So I was like a translator, and that's what happens a lot as working planners. We're translating knowledge between actors, who have different levels of power and agency in impacting decisions, and we're also translating, just in trying to discuss in simple terms what's going on in a particular file application. So what I've done in this vlog is I have literally followed a recent planning application that came through in April and was approved on July 10th in Edmonton. So 3 or 4 months, pretty quick actually. And the process included a public notice going out, a sign going on the site, an internal review. There was some external input by folks who read maybe the public notices or the signs, the site sign, and then there was a 60-page council report written, and it was posted on a on the council agenda. The council agenda was 500 pages long, so you had to. So it was, it was quite a large meeting. There was, in essence, 12 different public hearings that day, I think it was. So there was a huge amount of information to go through, and then ultimately got approved. There were, in that particular, this application was advertised in the local newspapers. The information was posted on the city website, and basically nobody showed up. Nobody engaged with the file. There was a few phone calls. It's not clear what the issues were that they raised, but nevertheless, there was not much community engagement. This was a file called in the Astor neighborhood, where there was basically, there was two elements of it. The southern part of the application was looking at creating some higher density residential development. And the upper part was a zoning of the park site as urban service lands. I had some issues with that, and it's described below. But the point of I've followed through all the information, and I've put it on my vlog what the information actually said. I didn't put the whole 60-page document because that was too much, but I did put the essence of the application there. And at the end, I basically conclude, in terms of information sharing, I think there was information shared, but in terms of creating community agency with respect to the file, good or bad, the information was, in my view, full of jargon, full of terminology that wouldn't engage people, quite frankly. It told a file story, it didn't tell a community story. Now, does that mean the outcome was bad? Not necessarily, no. But this is quite what you see in this application is quite typical of what happens today. It's more and it's interesting because these timelines that were used in this application, it was approved really quickly, and that's another artifact of our land use change processes in Edmonton recently. We got to get things approved quickly. So you need to think about that in the context of, are people adequately engaged in that process if you got to do it quickly? So I will leave that with you. Read my notes, and I hope you come back and listen to more of my work. Thank you.